Hey guys, we're in the Encyclopedia of the Ancient World. We're going to be briefly discussing the rise of Babylon. Okay, so in this area to start with, we had the city of Ur, right, a city-state, and eventually Ur falls. The Amorites flood into Mesopotamia, and they take up all the fertile lands in the area and quickly adopt the local cultures and religion. In one part of Mesopotamia, you have a very small group that settles there, and their capital is Babylon. And Babylon means the gate of the gods, okay? And so they're there, they're kind of coexisting with the Amorites until eventually you have a brilliant soldier, a general whose name is Hammurabi. And he starts uniting the people of Babylon and the Babylonian area, and he starts pushing out and expanding, and he eventually becomes king of Babylon somewhere around 1792 BC. And as he's expanding his territory, he's pushing into different parts and taking over areas and forcing other people out. And so at some point he gets under his own control all of Sumer and all of Akkad, and which is basically most of Mesopotamia. And he gets the nickname King of the Four Corners. And because he thought his own empire covered the whole entire world, he thought ultimately that he controlled all four corners of the world. As a ruler, though, once he gained control of this empire and created what was known as the Babylonian Empire, he became a very wise and efficient ruler. He respected the different traditions of the people, and he created a set of laws that were applied to all the people throughout his whole entire territory, as we know that as the Code of Hammurabi. And one of the things he wanted to do was make sure everybody knew what the law was, and so he had all the laws engraved on these huge stone slabs and placed throughout his entire empire, so that way everybody would know what it was. He, like I said, created the Babylonian Empire. His successors continued to rule the Babylonian Empire, and this empire lasted until around 1595 BC, where eventually the Hittites, a very warlike people, sacked the city, and they ruled the area until their empire started to collapse. After them came the Kassites and the Kassite kings. And these people originally were in the Zagros Mountains, which is in modern day Iraq, and they, for the most part, kept to themselves. And eventually, though, they see the Hittites who took over the Babylonian Empire started to lose some power, lose some control, and they saw an opportunity. Excuse me. And they took that opportunity and moved down out of the mountains and took over the Babylonian area. They ruled Babylon, and one of the things they did was pretty much they went in there and adopted the Babylonian culture and accepted it, and they created and made Babylon a great power of the day again. However, there's very little known about these Kassite people. Sometimes we know that they gave their daughters to the Egyptian pharaohs as wives. Through the Egyptian records, we found that information. But again, not a lot known about that. And that's a fairly common practice where, you're trying to keep peace, and so you unite your kingdoms through marriages. But we know that basically they ruled apparently without a lot of problems for about 400 years, and eventually in around 1171 BC they were overthrown by the Elamites. So that was, just real quick about, the Babylon and a little bit of that area at the time. Thanks.